Development Advocacy Network. We are the leading events and webinar platform in African real estate, a platform to connect with stakeholders in the housing industry across the globe. Our platform has over 1,000 live viewers per webinar, over 20 African and international countries. We engage a heterogeneous audience composed of decision makers. With over 120 minutes per webinar, you can reach over 40,000 global and Pan-African audience. Join Nigeria's leading brands, sponsor a webinar episode or series, or host your own webinar through our platform and speak to your own audience. Through our platform, you can reach a new audience composed of real estate developers and investors, property owners and facility managers, banks and financial institutions, construction and civil engineering firms, managing directors and chief executive officers of companies, wholesalers, retailers, property agencies, and even more. For inquiries, call the numbers displayed on your screen. The Housing Development Advocacy Network webinar platform is proudly sponsored by
Good afternoon. You are welcome to another webinar series packaged by Housing Development Advocacy Network. And our focus today will be on digital offtakers affordability profiling, some recent experiences. We are very lucky, privileged today to have very important personalities from different corporate organizations that have success stories to tell us as our guest speakers on the program today. So it's my pleasure to welcome first and foremost all the very important personality guest speakers for today's webinar discussion. I want to welcome you one by one, from Voice of Nigeria to NMRC to Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and to the Central Bank of Nigeria and to the Family Home Fund. You are all welcome. You are welcome to this special and value chain. You are all welcome to this very important webinar discussion.
Thank you very much.
It's also my pleasure to welcome all our participants. I can see you that the figures is increasing. We are connecting from different parts of the world to benefit from what we are going to discuss today. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar discussion. To our partners in the media houses, AIT, TVC, and Leadership Newspaper, Business Day, who have connected to be part of this event. It's my pleasure to appreciate your partnership, and I say welcome to this our discussion today. As I hear mentioned, this is the 7th webinar series packaged by Nigeria Housing Development Advocacy Network, the owners of Housing Development Program on AIT, owners of Housing Development Program on TVC, and the convener of Abuja International Housing Show, the largest housing development program, the largest housing events in Africa. The focus is digital offtakers, affordability profiling, some recent experiences. Number one on my list today is Mr. Osita Okechukwu, the Director General of Voice of Nigeria. I welcome you again to this discussion. Mr. Osita Okechukwu, you are welcome to this webinar discussion. It's also my pleasure to welcome to this very important discussion today, Engineer Taufik Olatinwo from Nigeria Mortgage Finance Company. You are welcome on the discussion.
Thank you very much, Barrister Aldebayo, and nice to be on this great webinar with the panelists. Thank you so much, the audience. Looking forward to a great dialogue. Thank you.
It's also my pleasure to welcome and recognize Malam Seu Osidi, the Deputy General Manager, Head to to the Managing Director of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Malam Osidi.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here, and I look forward to a very wonderful conversation. Thank you.
It's also my pleasure to welcome and recognize Dr. Mike Mba, Mr. Statistics, the CBN National Real Estate Data Program Coordinator. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Festus. I appreciate it once again to be part of this discussion on housing offtakers affordability. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Now it's also my pleasure to welcome Dr. Joshua Egbagbe, Chairman Value Chain Consultant, Team Leader Nigeria Homes, Nigeria. Dr. Egbagbe, it's my pleasure.
Good morning.
To have you on this platform.
Good afternoon, fellow panelists. Thank you, Professor Adebayo, being the vertical housing advocate. And welcome to all our viewers from both Nigeria and across the world. It promises to be a great time today. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all, my very important guest speakers for today. Again, I say our focus today is digital offtaker affordability profiling, some recent experiences. And I will be starting from the Nigerian mortgage finance. And I will be asking the first question from them to tell us to what extent are the survey carried out by their organization in 2016, to what extent has it impacted on the housing sector? What really, what really is digital off-takers affordability we are talking about? Before you tell us your experience in 2016.
Thank you very much, Barrister Festus, and good afternoon, panelists, as well as the participants to this great dialogue on digital profiling to do with the housing. Before I move on, I'd like to say good afternoon to Professor Charles Nyangete, the first CEO, MD CEO of Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Company, and see you are one of the participants. Great to hear, sir. Also, David Chiwetu from CAF, all the way from South Africa. You're welcome on board. Good to have you here. So, you know, like NMRC essentially is a secondary mortgage market to provide liquidity to the mortgage banks to be able to have affordable housing, as well as having access to finance, easy access to finance. And we've been doing this since 2015 when we started full operations, and up till today we've done about 20 billion naira worth of refinancing based on the quality of assets that we have. When we started, because we realized that we're at the end of the value chain for housing market, we knew that very quickly that if we don't go all the way back to the beginning of the value chain, we would be having series of challenges creating quality assets for us to be able to refinance eventually. And if there are no houses to build, or people are not buying houses, there won't be any mortgages. If there are no mortgages, then there's no need for refinancing. So why should we be in business at all? So we took it upon ourselves to do a lot in terms of market development. And one of the fundamentals of doing this is data. Without data, you do not know what we have. And without understanding what we have, then there's no need for us to do any business at all. So in 2016, when we looked at the whole picture, we decided to partner under the NHFP program. We decided to partner with the National Bureau of Statistics, and we carried out data survey across the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria. We called this a pilot, but eventually we realized that it's quite a lot of work that we put into it. So that gave us the understanding of the household data. And when we talk about household data, we're looking at the economic situation of the household, both the primary income earners as well as the secondary and others. And we pull all of this together into the portal, which we developed as part of the process to understand how much people would really earn. What location would they like to build or to buy their houses? and how much can they really afford. So with the affordability metrics that we put together in the portal, which is still available there for free for everybody, we quickly realized that we would have to look at what we call the affordable housing in Nigeria. Very quickly we realized that less than 50% of the people are earning below 100,000. I mean, I'm just putting this figure out there, but it's all out for us to see very clearly. And it helped us to go back to the basics, to start looking at real profiling. But even given that profiling, digital profiling, is one of the key elements of the uniform underwriting standards, which is the operational side. We also looked at it from the viewpoint of survey data. So we're bringing survey data, understanding the digital profiling of our people, and we're looking at the operational end of it, from where we use the actual data we get from the people that are already taking the mortgages, and we're blending this together. We did this, and eventually we started working with the Nigeria Real Estate Data Collection Management Program. Also, we brought in CAF, that's the Center for Africa for Affordable Housing and Finance in South Africa. And we've been working on this together to even develop it further to look at the housing economic value chain, as well as the housing economic model. So this model is what we are now using as a way to see how to use it to eventually get homes for our people, job creation, and eventually getting them up to the national economy for the country. So that's it in a nutshell. There are quite a lot of activities in between, but we don't want to go into all the details now to allow other panelists to also share their views. Thank you.
Let me restate clearly. The rule is that this is your first presentation. You will only do it for 4 minutes. 4 minutes, your first presentation. And your second presentation will be 3 minutes. And that second presentation will come as question for you to answer. Let me also use this opportunity to tell all our participants that our polls is up for them to respond to some of the questions we decided to put in for them to respond to. And beyond that, we are set for questions on this platform to find solutions to problems. I appreciate the first speaker who have given us some lowdown, even went to give us some information on what they are doing in Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company. So at this point, I want to go to Central Bank of Nigeria, where I will be calling on Dr. Mike Umba, of the Director of the Department of Statistics, and who is in charge of the National Real Estate Data Collection for the whole country. They attached some things to the intervention, which have to do with Offtakers Affordability. So my question to Dr. Umba is, how will your National Real Estate Data Collection help in affordable housing in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Barrister Festus. Yeah, the Nigerian Real Estate Data Collection Program, basically it was an initiative that started between Central Bank and the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDAN, which we later co-opted so many other agencies, NMRC, Federal Mortgage Bank, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, and even the private sector participants from like Value Chain and then Python. We also engaged the MBS and the National Population Commission to be part of it. And so the objective of the NRDCMP was to create a data repository for the sector, for the housing sector. We found that what has been operating is all about silos, silo approach to both the administrative data, silo approach to business data, silo approach in everything, household data, Offtakers. So the intention is that whatever we will do will be to make it available for the industry. And so for the Offtakers, the intention of the NRDCMP was to create that data repository of off-takers in Nigeria. And so that's why we carried out a pilot which covered all the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory. And then so that intention, also we made sure that we covered both public, private sector, and self-employed to get their data. So so that objective is what is driving the NREDCMP, to have a data depository. So we know that not all developers can, and then not all states can also do that. So, but if we have a national repository, so everybody can have affordability and going forward. I didn't want to go much into what we did.
Let me just give you 2 minutes to do that, please.
Yeah, I said I had explained the objective of when it covers to. Yes, this is so. Unfortunately, we lost the network did not allow you to be part of that. Yes. So I will still come back to talk about what we found out when we did that, the pilot survey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very interesting. I'm using about 3 network here, and 1 or 2 of them try to give me some challenges, but I will resist them. Now I'll be going to Dr. Egbagbe. Mr. Valu Shane is one of our invited guests. Dr. Egbagbe, we would like to hear from you. What has been the activities of your own organization in this area of digital off-takers affordability profiling? Where are you at present?
Well, Value Chain Project Consultants Limited, like the name says, is actually structured to look at the gaps in the value chain of affordable housing. And having done that, we further go on to create solution templates to close the gaps. As early as 2011, my former company built a major estate in Bauchi, and we had a big problem with off-takers affordability because government didn't do our own PPP aspect. So that set me thinking. First off, like you know, my humble background is in public health management, which I did a lot of research work with data and statistics. So I applied health into the housing industry. And so in 2013, to be specific, we began to collaborate with the German government agency, GIZ, to structure a proper research background to what we discovered to be the weakest link in the value chain of affordable housing in Nigeria and Africa. And the weakest link is the off-taker. So from 2013 to 2014, we did extensive research with the support of the German government agency, GIZ, across some of the states of the Federation, notably Plateau State, Niger State, and then later Ogun State, where we carried out very extensive research and what we call stakeholder engagement to validate the concept. I have a 300-page research document, which I think I've sent you in the past, that contains our findings. Then we zeroed down to the off-taker eventually as the centerpiece of a sustainable housing delivery strategy for Nigeria. The off-taker at the center means that the mortgage funding issues, the construction finance, the land issues, the construction developers, all of that, they need to understand the challenges of the off-taker. That's to say a demand-driven paradigm shift. It was difficult first off, like you know, in this country, you don't pioneer easily, but we were able to get the partnership of different partners. And sometime last year, we had been writing to CBN several times, and eventually CBN directed us to see their statistics department, where, thank God, my good friend, Dr. Michael Ma, and his colleagues, I presented to them the off-takers affordability strategy. At that time, they were doing the National Real Estate Data Collection and Management Program, which had 3 specific challenges or 3 agenda, which is better able to explain. So I suggested and they adopted the 4th leg, which is the off-takers affordability profiling and mortgage capacity evaluation. So my progress, like you asked me, has been from research down to stakeholders engagement. And as of today, let me quickly round up the first 4 minutes. As of today, we are actively engaged with different stakeholders along the value chain. For confidentiality reasons, I cannot name my clients on open forum like this, but I can assure you that we have done very serious work across the nation, and we have thousands of off-takers profiled already in our database. What makes it interesting is that we've been able to successfully also kickstart some projects across some states in the federation. I can name just at least two. In Ogun State, for example, our off-takers, data was used to structure one of the beautiful estates there called Valley View. We also have done extensive work in Kaduna State with the Regional Congress, and the work is going on very well. As of today, we intend to now launch very soon. We had to postpone the launch to a better date of our platform, the ngmhomes.ng platform, which is a digital platform, fully automated, real-time, online. The work it does is to, first of all, secure the affordability data and indices of the off-taker. And then we structure what developers need to build to matching capacity. So the website is up now. We are running and fine-tuning. In about a week or two, by God's grace, first, I'm sure you'll be aware of our launching plans. We can profile off-takers. We can get their mortgage capacity evaluated automatically. We also have a section for developers to upload their properties so that we can match. There's a handshake. There's a handshake between the off-takers, the developers, and the mortgage finance. So that it's a completely integrated platform. I think for now, we hope to expand our scope. Thank God that the CBN is also working very hard with this new intervention fund proposal. We hope that all stakeholders will collaborate more. My biggest vision as a medical doctor background is to see the good health of our people through affordable housing, especially in the coronavirus season. Good housing is good health. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Igbagbe, medical doctor. And you are not talking about our health here now. Thank you for talking about our health. We appreciate it. Now, at this point, I'll be going to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Dr. Banke, are you with us?
Hi, Festus. I'm here.
Okay, I'm happy.
Good afternoon, everybody.
You are welcome. Having you here. How is family home?
Good to be here.
How is family home funds today?
We're doing very well, changing lives.
That's okay. That's okay. Now we're going to Federal Mortgage Bank, that very giant housing finance organization in Nigeria that determines a lot of things that happen in the housing mortgage system. And my question will be going to the Deputy General Manager for the organization and the head to the Managing Director, Madam Shehu. Madam Shehu, given that Federal Mortgage Bank has the largest number of potential housing off-takers, about 5 million National Housing Fund contributors, what is your plan to leverage on this number to ensure affordable housing in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Barrister Adebayo, for that beautiful question. I'm glad that you have recognized the fact that FMBN is very central in the sector in Nigeria, given the structure of our institution and the history. And of course, the expectations by Nigerians on what FMBN is expected to deliver. To that extent, we have, like you said, the largest number of contributors to the National Housing Fund, which is also the largest potential opportunity for mortgage creation in the country. Now, a lot of challenges that we have had have also propelled us as an institution to look at how best we can service our clients and how we can develop better strategies to be able to manage them going forward. So we are, directly to your question, we are using a two-pronged approach. One is how are we able to meet the demands and the expectations of our present contributors? And then secondly, how are we going to be able to grow this number? Now, the first is we have tried as an institution to address one of the critical issues that have been our major challenge, which is the issue of accountability and transparency. A lot of individuals have complained about their contributions to the Federal Mortgage Bank. They do not know how much they have contributed. They don't have any way or means by which they can check their contributions. So we leveraged on our IT infrastructure and we created the *219# where you can quickly tap, and then you will be able to have a number of options. One, you can check your NHF contributions. You can do a mortgage calculation in terms of affordability or what kind of house you can afford. And then we also tried to enhance affordability by looking at one of the greatest challenges, which is the issue of equity contribution. A lot of Nigerians are able ordinarily to service a mortgage, but they do not have opportunity or the capacity to provide equity. So prior to this time, we had a graduated equity regime where if you are taking a loan of 5 million and below, you contribute an equity of 10%. Between 5 million and 10 million, you contribute an equity of 20%. And then between 10 million and 15 million, you contribute 30%. But what we did in order to address this concern was to make it flat. If you are taking a loan of between 5 to 15 million, you pay a flat equity contribution of 10%, while loans of 5 million and below attract zero equity. This has helped to enhance affordability to a large extent. Now, we also have tried to address the issue of one of the biggest segments of the Nigerian market, which is the informal sector. Like we know, the informal sector has been going through a lot of challenges because that is the unbanked segment of the Nigerian society. And how then do we bring them into the banking sector? And that says a lot with respect to the issue of financial inclusion. So we use the instrumentality of cooperative societies to create what we call a cooperative housing development loan, where individuals can form cooperatives, approach the Federal Mortgage Bank for a cooperative loan, and then when the loan is approved, they will do the designs of the kind of houses that they want, they determine the prices, and then they just to FMBN. What we then do is to vet their designs, we vet the costings to ensure that the members are able to be able to pay for those houses. And then we finance the construction of the houses. And when the houses are constructed, the interesting thing again is the FMBN creates also the mortgages for the individual members of the cooperative so that they can own the houses. So these are some of the steps that we have taken to ensure that we are able to service our present clientele. And the subject matter of today's discussion, Mr. Festus, is the issue of affordability. One institution in Nigeria that can tell you a very bitter experience in terms of what affordability means is FMBN. We had in the course of our history tried to intervene by way of financing construction in housing through the estate development loan window. Ordinarily, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is expected to concentrate on mortgage financing. And we discovered that houses were either not available or that the houses available were not within the threshold of affordability to our target market, who are the low and medium income earners in Nigeria. We introduced the estate development loan window where we collaborated with developers to finance houses. Our experience was that a lot of these houses were built across different locations in the country without off-takers because we then generally believed that once you build houses, you have people to take them, looking at the huge housing deficit that is available in Nigeria. But we had a very bitter experience. So now we decided that every single construction we're going to finance must have an off-taker arrangement on ground from day one. So you are not going to end up, building houses where people are not going to be able to take. In other words, we are going to be able to determine an effective demand, meaning we are going to be building houses that people are going to be able and willing and have the capacity to buy in particular locations so that we build a purpose and we are specific in that direction. These are some of the steps that FMBN has taken in order to address to satisfy the pool of the contributors that we have at the moment. Thank you very much, Festus.
Thank you, Madam Shehu. Thank you for that beautiful contribution. Now, at this point, I'll be going to Voice of Nigeria, where we have big chunk of staff who are looking for a way to own a home of their own, either through the support from family-owned funds or Federal Mortgage Bank or NMRC. So now I'll be inviting the Director General to tell us how are they finding it, this issue of off-takers affordability. Are your team, your employees in Voice of Nigeria ready to key to what we are talking about? That is this off-takers affordability. We are here to know the type of housing they are qualified to buy right from the point they are applying. Mr. Ikechukwu.
Good afternoon, all.
You are welcome, sir.
When I came into Voice of Nigeria in 2016, getting houses, affordable houses for the staff of Voice of Nigeria was one of my objectives. One of which as well was to get a corporate headquarters to them, and then also to expand their database and go into the media world from digital angle. Luckily, I met a lot of estate developers, but when the value chain group came, I asked them, what model are they adopting? Are they one of those who want the staffers to complete the houses, and then the staffers will pay in a one fell swoop before they will occupy? They said no, that they would like to leverage on the housing fund in cooperation with Federal Mortgage Bank. I said that's what I'm looking for. Because I had experience when once in a while I travel abroad, I will stay with some of my friends or relatives, and the next day they go to work in the morning, in the night as well they go to work, and you ask them why are they going to work 2 times in a day, and they will tell you it's because they want to meet up with the mortgage of their houses. So you now notice that they are working basically for their own family interests, and not exactly whether they like or hate the head of the department or the DG or the minister, that they are basically doing it for themselves. So I said the best way to motivate my staff is to get them to own houses in Abuja. I've lived in the city for over 30 years, and I know that it's going to be practically impossible for most of them to own houses unless we go through the mortgage system.
Yes,
and luckily, the MD of the Federal Mortgage Bank was very receptive, and he said he will encourage Voice of Nigeria to get what we want in terms of houses. So we held a town hall meeting with the value chain at the developer, and we included the COPUL. And out of about 1,200 staffers of Voice of Nigeria, the response was very marvelous. They all indicated interest, collected the forms, and at the end of the processing of the forms, over 800 of them were qualified in different categories. So luckily, we go back to the MD of the Dangiwa, and he said, that is it. Go and get us your documents. We want to pass through your cooperative society. So we met the Minister of Federal Capital Territory. We have over 20-something hectares of land for the purpose, but the minister now promised that he would designate it as the Federal Mortgage Bank wants, to carve it out to make it possible. And we also said, if we have we're going to have over 2,000 houses, what happened? They told us that we can also get other ministries and agencies to own, because we do not want to give it out through the informal methods. We want to get the houses. So far, we are waiting for the board of the Federal Mortgage Bank and to dust up our papers to get going. But from the look of things, the developers are ready, the value chain group and the COPUN. The Ministry of Federal Capital Territory is also open to leverage to help us. So we are set to go ahead.
Thank
and
you.
we're happy about that, because by the end of this year, we might be in a position to get through the first phase.
DG, we want to thank you for, we are very appreciative of your contribution this afternoon on this webinar discussion. And I hope my colleagues in the media can take note of that presentation by Mr. Okechukwu. He has shown love for housing for his staff. He said the issue of housing is key to him. He made me to know for another time that the issue of housing is something that government, every good government, must give attention to. With what has happened in COVID-19, our secrets have been exposed. The importance of housing have been seen in every corner. People are living in slums. A man, a wife with 6 children are living in a room, and we are calling for social distancing. It can't fly. It can't happen. So, Mr. Okechukwu, thank you for what you have been doing with Federal Mortgage Bank, and I can assure you that Federal Mortgage Bank will surely do something about VOA, Investors of Nigeria. I'm aware of the activities in the head of service, the home innovation loan they'll be giving. And I'm very sure, since they have given you audience 1 or 2 times, I can assure you that some of your members in the Voice of Nigeria will soon be house owners very soon through the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. So we'll come back to you to ask more questions. As far as what you want, my next question to you will be, what do you want the government? Because you are a politician. And as a politician, one of the accusations we are having is that the politicians in this country are not giving housing much priority. They're not giving housing much attention. So I'll be coming back to you, my Director General, to hear from you what you want your colleagues in the political arena to do as far as housing is concerned. We feel strongly that if there's political will, the way the Buhari administration is doing in the area of agriculture, it can also be repeated in the area of housing once there's a political will. And that is our commitment on housing development program on television and housing development advocacy network. Now it's time for us to go to family-owned fund. What is the role of family-owned fund in helping states to carry out affordability profiling? Dr. Oyebanke.
Thank you very much, Barrister Festus, and thank you to my fellow panelists. As you know, Family Homes Funds provides construction financing for the development of homes for people on low income. And we've also begun to evolve products to also meet the demand side, such as our help to own and rental housing funds. Now, in regards to our specific role with helping the states with affordability profiling, we can say we do this in 2 main ways. The first one is when the states bring their proposals for us to look at. I think similar to what my colleague Malam Shehu from FMBN has found out, is that it's not enough for the homes to be built, but it's definitely imperative for people to be able to afford those homes. And at the onset, what we then do is, what we have begun to do is to ask for the profiles of target beneficiaries. So not only do the states bring forward their proposals for their drawings, but we're also asking that who are your off-takers going to be? What are their income levels? Will they be able to afford the homes that you are going to build? Because we do not want them to end up with white elephant projects. I think secondly, what we also do is to ensure that the prices that they are bringing forward are low. We do not sponsor or fund luxurious homes. And so we want to ensure that the price range that they are determined to build at is low and is affordable to a good majority of Nigerians. Thirdly, when we do evolve our products, we ensure that it's for those within our target beneficiaries. So whoever will be a beneficiary of our help to own product would have to be within that low income category. But more generally, we find that the states themselves are already quite quite in that mindset, in that most of the proposals that come to us are for people, for civil servants, people on low income, and in some cases for internally displaced persons who we all know we can say are low or no income beneficiaries. But this is definitely an area that we are open to exploring partnerships to help states and private sector developers to further ensure that targeting is done properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Family Home Fund. We appreciate that submission. And it shows clearly that all of us are on the same route. And it's just a matter of time we get to our destination. Now, we have finished the first round of our webinar presentation. And for those who are just joining us, who are just connecting to us, we are focusing on a very important issue of digital off-takers affordability profiling. As we all know, a lot of people want to own a home, but unfortunately, their salary cannot take care of it. And if you come to the city of Abuja, even go to some areas in Lagos, you see many houses being developed by real estate developers. Some of those houses are standing, but nobody to occupy them. At various times, we have done reports of vacant, empty houses everywhere in Abuja, and everywhere in Port Harcourt, everywhere in Lagos, major cities. Now we are getting to the destination of finding a solution to this problem, wherein we will be building for those people that really need the houses. So the first assignment is first, sell the houses before you start the building. Not to build the houses first, before you now start looking for buyers. And I know we will get there very soon. Now for our second round, I will be starting with Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. As I said earlier, I said your role is so critical. Everyone is looking unto you for one thing or the other. And you can see the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, who has passionately shown interest that his employee in Voice of Nigeria must be housed. And on that note, I visited your organization. So I got a question for you here. That Federal Mortgage Bank, are you aware that there are some people who are your contributors who will never be eligible to benefit from your mortgage system because of the affordability problem? How do you intend to solve this problem with those people? Do you have other system, other scheme? I don't want to answer for you, though I mentioned that you said you have some other, if you cannot benefit from National Housing Fund, you should be able to benefit from other areas. So can you please use this opportunity to tell us what other things, other alternatives, other windows you have a Federal Mortgage Bank that will help those people who does not have affordability to solve their problem? Malam Shehu.
Thank you very much, Barrister Adebaya, for yet another very important question. I would like to thank Dr. Okechukwu for his kind compliments. That's a further confirmation of the fact that those who recognize the fact that if they have housing challenges and they approach the Federal Mortgage Bank, they are going to meet a willing solution provider. We are in very strong discussions with the Voice of Nigeria, and very soon, like you said, Barrister Adebaya, we're going to get there. We're going to be able to resolve their problem and provide houses for the workers. Now, back to your question. Yes, as an institution, we have looked at the various segments of the contributors to the National Housing Fund. We are aware, because of the challenges with respect to low incomes in this country, it is extremely difficult for everybody to own a house at the same time. And so what have we done to do this? Like I have talked about the reduction in equity contribution to enhance affordability. One other thing we have done is to introduce what we call the home renovation loan, where individuals that are contributing to the National Housing Fund can access this facility to improve on their houses. And I will tell you and my fellow panelists that our experience has been very exciting and interesting. Quite a number of Nigerians have accessed this loan, which is 1 million naira, repayable over a period of 5 years. And there are individuals in local communities that have been able to build houses. And you have also situations where Nigerians, every Nigerian tries to make sure that he's able to build a roof over his head. But I've had situations where Nigerians have been able to build houses. Maybe the only thing that remains to be done is just to probably paint or provide some finishing touches to the house, and then you move to your houses. So we have received testimonies of individuals that have been able to access these home renovation loans and have been improved their houses, or that has enhanced their ability to move into houses that they have made efforts to build on their own. And another strategy that we have adopted is the introduction of the rent-to-own housing scheme. From what we said earlier, we have a stock of houses built across the country in different locations. And when we had a lot of challenges with the issue of affordability, we introduced the rent-to-own housing scheme, starting with the funded estates that are funded by the bank. And all an individual needs to do is to move into these houses and make monthly repayments, and then eventually the houses become their own. So these are basically some of the things that the bank is doing as a response to the fact that we are aware not every Nigerian or every contributor to the National Housing Fund can access regular mortgage. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. We will continue to put you on a very hot seat to tell us what you are doing from time to time. I have told your CEOs, we brought them about 3 weeks ago. We are bringing them in 3 months' time to come and tell us what they have achieved, one by one. MD Federal Mortgage Bank, MD NMRC, MD Family Home Fund. So I'm going to bring you back in the next 3 months and ask you questions. What have you done about Voice of Nigeria? I'm very interested in the Voice of Nigeria. These are they are my media colleagues, so they must be asked. Now, this one, I'll be going to Central Bank of Nigeria back again. Dr. Mike back. Dr. Mike, I know the only business you do every time, every moment is statistics. You give us information that will guide us in policy formulation, that will help us in decision-making process. My second question for you today is, what is the end game? How do we sustain data collection and management for housing in Nigeria?
Okay, yeah. Festus, can you allow me to share something? Because if we're to talk about the end game, I will need to show something.
I wouldn't mind. Let me just give you like extra 2 minutes to your presentation.
Yes. So I can see that you disabled screen sharing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I got it there.
Right.
Okay, so I hope you can see my screen.
I can see it. Right on.
Okay, so this is where the problem lies from our the pilot that we did in 2018. If you look here, you can see what emerged from about 19,000 off-takers that were covered in all the states. You will see that majority, close to 70% of them, 69.94, had income that were less than 100,000. And so all that we have been talking about, from federal mortgage to family home fund to value chain, centers around what kind of income do these people have? Can they afford it? And I'm happy that you asked that question to the federal mortgage and say, what other products do you have? To be factual, there is no way they can satisfy everybody. But this is where the NRE DCM becomes, and that's the end game. And that's what I think, and that's where we're driving at. Build a repository of off-takers in Nigeria, of course, household-based. Then, if we get this figure that 70% of Nigerians cannot afford even a basic house, then a subsidy comes in. For us to talk to government and say, okay, you need to subsidize housing for the poor, we have to have the data to talk about it. Now, just this snapshot of a pilot shows you that, I don't know the type of houses, and I'm going to show you the next slide. Now, this is by age and the type of house they want. You discover that among these 19,000, majority of them want things around 2-bedroom bungalow, 3-bedroom bungalow, 3-bedroom apartments, as you can see there from the percentages at the base, you can see that about 25% of them want a standard 2-bedroom in a block of flats, and then 25% again want 3-bedroom in a block of flats. And so you can see the clustering. Now, if you look at these off-takers, you can see their age, that it ranges between, of course, majority of them are between the age of 25 to 54, which is still within the working age and of the labor force. Interestingly, when you now go by states, this is what we found. Based on the type of houses that they said they want and the prices of those houses in their states, this is the affordability percentages, the percentage of off-takers in each state that can afford the type of houses they have. The highest percentage we got was from Rivers State, which is still less than 45%, that can afford the type of house they had said we want, and the price of those houses in their states. So, which shows that we looked at their income, and we looked at, for them to bring out 30% of their income every month for the next 30 years. Do they still have up to 30 years in service, or they don't have? Can they afford the type of house? That's how we arrive at these affordability percentages. So, given this, you will see that the end game of having a robust repository of profile off-takers for the country is that it will provide a justification to say, the salaries are poor. Okay, we talk about minimum wage. Even minimum wage at 30,000 was an issue, a national issue of discourse. So the next question will be, so what do we do? Okay, do the government have the capacity to subsidize? If it doesn't have the capacity, so what do we do? Do we allow our people to live in slums? No. Of course, no government official will agree to that. So that is the end game, and that's where the National Real Estate Data Collection is getting to. Okay, so if we need to beg, our foreign partners and say, our people need houses, and we don't have the capacity to subsidize it for them, can you help? We need to show them the data. So now, from 19,000 off-takers, we were able to just get this structure of data. So what do we do now if we go into a larger scale? And that's why the NRDCMP assigned that particular role now to Federal Mortgage and, of course, the Family Home Fund to go forward in supporting building up a larger database of profile off-takers from where we can justify that the people that we have currently that are working, if I show you by the structure of where they work, you can see that majority of them, out of these 19,000, were full-time workers working with the government. Of course, that's based on the way the data was collected. By the time we go via the household approach, which we have proposed, then we will see that we're going to get more of the self-employed and then those operating in what we call the informal sector, and then get their income. And so that's where we're going, and that's what we are looking at. That if we have this, the end game for the sector is to say, it's painful when the Malamo City from Federal Mortgage has said that some of the developers they gave money in the past built and couldn't sell, of course, because the people couldn't afford it by the location. So the last time we met here under this platform, people talked about houses that were built in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt that were empty. Why? Because people couldn't afford it. We didn't have this baseline. So, and it's also is good that the Family Home Fund is approaching it from that angle. Federal Mortgage Bank is also approaching it from that angle now, saying, going forward, if we're to fund anything, we need this. So, under the NRDCMP, we are bringing in all these stakeholders to say, okay, we create this thing because there are foreign investors, there are domestic investors who want to go into housing development, but they need to know who can afford it. So if we keep on running the silo approach, okay, I do for this state today or do this agency tomorrow, and that's what we will not get the true picture of what the problem that is at hand. Somebody has said here that COVID-19 threw up, okay, yeah, first as you said it, COVID-19 threw up the problem that we are facing today. You are asking people to stay inside their houses when most of them do not have a house, or the house they have is as good as a place that the pandemic can get to them so easily. So that's what and it's a national issue, and that's why we're approaching it from the national level under the NRE DCMP, that we need to get this data and then address it. The funds that are available for the Family Home Fund and for the Federal Mortgage Bank are limited. They can't solve the entire problem at the same time. But if you have a baseline information of what the gap or what we need to be done, then that justifies any argument to the government or to any international support for providing houses. We know that both the United Nations, the World Bank, everybody is interested in how to make sure that Nigerians have good, affordable, quality, including the GIZ, like Value Chain mentioned, Dr. Babe mentioned. So that's where we're going, and that's what for NRDCMP going forward. We're going to work with all the collaborating agencies to ensure that we keep on building this database. Currently, the database that we have, when you look at by income side, so you ask yourself, the 13,000 Nigerians that were covered that are earning less than 100,000. So what kind of house do we want to give them through a mortgage approach? And we can't say, okay, we're building houses free for them. Well, if we do that, that will be fine for most of them, but can we afford that? So that becomes an issue that we need to address. So that's where we're going. So the end game will always be, how do we fund this gap? Currently, we are what is being addressed by Federal Mortgage and Family Home Fund and other financing institutions, which is good, is to even clear those who can afford. But the question lies that majority of the population cannot afford a decent home. And the data is what we need to showcase to the government so that they start thinking about it. The politician can now plan and make arrangements for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Omba. I remember calling you sometimes ago when this issue of intervention came. Before the time I called you, I said, we need to work hard to ensure that government intervene in the housing sector. And that somebody just sent me a message, Festus, can you please tell me the prospect of your sector if you want us to intervene? Can you tell me the kind of intervention you need? Can you tell me the type of housing that people really need? And I remember discussing with you, and you replied me the same way you have done today. With your presentation today, you have made me to see more, and some of the participants here, why this issue of off-takers affordability is very, 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 very important. And therefore, for all of us that are on this platform, the collaboration is key for us, so that we can solve this problem at least for this country, and our name will be written in gold. Yes, at this point, for those who are just joining us, we are still on the webinar discussion on digital off-takers affordability profiling, some recent experiences, and with me here today, I have from Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, and also the Director General Voice of Nigeria. I have with me the Coordinator of National Real Estate Data Coalition in the country, who is from Central Bank of Nigeria. And I also have with me the Chairman of Value Chain, Dr. Joshua Egbagbe, also is with me on the platform today. I'm lucky and privileged to also have Engineer Taufik Olatiwo, who have been contributing very relentlessly toward the development of his reliable data information for our country. Just as I said earlier, for the participants, our polls are available for you to fill. And I can see a lot of questions. I already have 13 questions waiting for my guests. And I hope my guests can see some of the questions, the way they are lined up for you. I will pick some of them. I will not touch some. And because some of them have been answered in the course of your presentation. At this point, I'll be going to NMRC why the chairman of value chain should be on standby to tell me what he's doing to complement the efforts of national real estate data collection. But at this point, my question for NMRC Engineer Taufik is, Housing Market Information Portal is another name for NMRC at this crucial period of COVID-19. In the last few days, you have been showcasing what you have been doing in this area. Please, how does your MMS, how does it help in affordability profiling?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. It's a very good question. And so, like I mentioned earlier on, when we started operations, we realized that we would be having challenges with a quality asset. We looked at the uniform underwriting standards, and that's actually the bedrock of the origination process for mortgages. And we said, okay, this is really operational at a point where the house is like almost bought, or they're trying to buy the house. And you now have to go through the profiling of all the buyers or the person that wants to take the mortgage. But in most cases, it's always too late at that point. Why not shift it to the point where even before building, we have some set of clear data about the buyers? And it's going to be a very smooth operation. Once you do the origination before even building, by the time they finish building and they go into mortgages, it's going to be very smooth. And it's about the same process. When we talk about digital off-takers affordability profiling and the origination process for the mortgage banks, they are essentially the same. Now, the difference is one is more like a kind of survey, and maybe the person is not going to buy the house eventually. But the other one is at the point when the person has seen the house in a location and what is approaching a bank to now buy. And at that point, the person knows he has the equity contribution and other things. But we say it's always too late at that point. So what we've done is to break it down into two segments. The survey part, which is the housing market information portal, the survey and other things to show the interest, and the other one, the operational part, where you're already approaching a bank to take the mortgages. And that's all built in together to have a good handshake between the survey data and the operational, the people in the construction industry that are able to put in all the data about the homes they're building into the system, such that they would be able to now get the mortgage banks to finance the people and eventually come back to refinancing. So what we've done in the mortgage market system is to have the end-to-end, value chain for the people in the construction industry, the aggregators that are more like agents that can push in data into the system, and we have the primary mortgage banks working together so that at the end of the day, we can provide refinancing and recycle the money back to the very beginning. And that's the kind of value chain that we've created within the mortgage market system. And this has a very good handshake going back to the housing market information portal, where we get the data around the survey data. And that's what we've given to the Nigeria Real Estate Data Collection Management Program, of which we are part of, and we are contributing heavily, and we are working together with the team. Coincidentally, I'm also on the steering committee for the Nigeria Real Estate Data Collection Management Program. And you can see the way we are all coming together, working together. And we've got people from FMBN also on the steering committee. We've got people from other companies. We have Dr. Egbagwe, who's also a member of the technical working group. And we're all working together to ensure that we have consistent data that will help our people in terms of affordability and will help the developers. Redan, of course, they started it with the CBN, and we're all working together to ensure we're able to move this forward. I see architect Sam Odia, who is also on call, and he's one of the key people that we've been working together to move this forward. We'll also partner with the CHF, which is going to help in terms of the regional approach, standardization. Standards is very, very important. Without having standards, we're just going to be beating about the bush. But now bringing the standards and coming together all the stakeholders is really helping for us to move forward. So we're going to see more in terms of being able to do this definition. being able to help people to build the right homes for the right people at the right time, at the right cost. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Taufik Olatinwo of the Nigeria Mortgage Finance Company. We appreciate that your submission. And at this point, I'll be going to Mr. Valu Shane, Dr. Joshua Ibabe. And my question for you at this hour is, going forward, from Dr. Mba, we started saying the way forward. We moved to Engineer Taufik. Now it's time to hear from you. Going forward, how does Value Chain Project Consultant intend to collaborate with other housing sector stakeholders?
Thank you, Festus, once again. Going forward, I have this parable that says that before you talk about going forward, you must be sure you are going in the right direction. Because if you are facing a valley of a mountain top and you go forward, you will fall into the ditch. Somebody said the blind leading the blind, both of them will fall into the ditch. So going forward, we have to stop first. I suggest the industry should take a moment to look at the dynamics around affordable housing delivery in Nigeria. Because COVID-19 has changed the game. We must not think it is going to be business as usual. COVID-19 has changed the game plan in a way that some of us do not even yet comprehend. Let me explain first of all, my co-panelists and all the participants in this very epochal webinar. As a statistics for executive decision person, I'll repeat that, or may say data. Data is not data for the sake of data. Like Dr. Mike Mba brilliantly explained, that the data we are getting will form the basis of decision making. Are we going to subsidize housing? Do we have the money? Are we going to ask foreign institutions to help us? How do we look at data today? Therefore, going forward, I would like to suggest that the industry should begin to look at new ways of doing things. At Value Chain, when we began this journey in 2013, I remember clearly that my biggest challenge at then as the chairman was how do we get data of 1 million people, 2 million people, 5 million people into a database quickly. And not only get into a database, but do analytics. And not only that alone, use the analytics to make what I call precision decision, precision planning for the industry. Remember, the industry is multi-stakeholder. And that's why I chose the name Value Chain Project Consultants at the beginning. Housing is not one person or one stakeholder. Housing, you have developers. Housing, you have construction fund finance. Housing, you have mortgage finance. By the way, they are different, you know that, of course. Housing, we have land and regulatory issues. Housing, we have what I want to call the weakest link, the off-takers. When I chose off-takers as my priority a few years ago, it was not an easy decision because at that time, most people were looking at how to raise more money to build, how to get land cheaper, fighting over the land use decree. But today, I'm happy the industry, the paradigm shift has become a national affair. I'm happy to have Dr. Mba with me on the same panel again, like last time. You will remember the first time I set my eyes on the handsome face. It was very interesting how we were able to synergize. That it's important we look at the off-takers and not just the 3 other areas the data collection and management program was emphasizing at that point in time. So going forward, we need to strengthen our collaboration. Our value chain, like we know, is a private sector company. We don't have the kind of resources government has. We don't have the kind of resources CBN has. We don't have what NMROC has, or FMBN, or Family Homes Fund. We don't. But as a private sector company, we have been able to act as a catalyst in this particular area of digital revolution. And that's how I will conclude my take. That going forward, we must go fully digital. I'm happy to announce that our software engineers at Value Chain have developed a model now that can originate a mortgage, that can, originate a matching between both off-takers statistics and the developers' offerings, either already built or to be built. I'm happy that Tawfiq, Engineer Tawfiq Olakinwo, my very good friend, I salute you. I used to call him Egbon. I salute what you said about the fact that it's not just enough to talk about building, but we must look at the right thing to do at the right time, at the right price. That's a beautiful, quotable quote. And so going forward, we must go fully digital. Not just digital alone, but off-takers must have a chance to know their affordability very easily without any hassle. If you log on now to our site, which will be launched officially very soon, ngnhomes.ng, you will discover that if you enter into it in less than 2-3 minutes, you can come out, you have your affordability indices displayed for you real time automatically. And of course, at the back end, we're able to provide services to, on an agency basis to the different stakeholders. Developers can get data to know what to build in what particular kind of state. For now, the front end is free. All Nigerians can log on. We shall be talking more with our friends in the National Estate Data Collection and Management Program. I'm already a member of the group. We need to collaborate more. So Festus, I think that you are right on target, that a digital revolution in off-takers affordability profiling, a digital revolution in how we conduct housing delivery in Nigeria, a digital revolution in how we originate mortgages, a digital revolution on how we interact with each other. That is the way forward. We are ready and we are willing and humbly asking God to help us that we understand each other for the proper handshake. God bless you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Dagbe. Been a wonderful period on this program. We have spent over an hour, and I don't want us to spend up to 2 hours on this program. Some of you should be preparing to say your last statement. But I would like to go on break now. And when I come back, I'll be going straight away to Mr. Osita Ikechukwu to talk here on this webinar on why housing is important for Nigerian workers. And I want him to use this opportunity to call on Nigeria political office holder to do something about housing. Nigerians deserve to be housed. I'll be right back.
The quality and quantity of available housing stock in any country measures the development and quality of life of her people. On housing development, I make it my top priority to bring to you trending housing information and day-to-day housing plight of Nigerians.
If me as a civil servant working for my country cannot get access to housing loan, I don't know what else they can do.
Can you imagine that somebody will pay for 2 years rent and is not sure of the next 3 months money in his pocket?
Also analyzing housing policies and strategies of government with stakeholders.
Let the federal government next level be seen in the area of housing. Nigerians deserve to be housed.
Housing issue is a journey of 1,000 miles. I don't think that anybody can pretend that we are going to close the 17 million homes gap in 5 years.
Housing development is your one-stop source for housing information. Join me.
So, how's that okay?
Aha! I see what's wrong.
What?
The wall doesn't match your elegance.
Then we must do something about it right away.
At Royal Ceramics, we offer you a wide range of beautiful wall and floor tiles designed specially to fit your lifestyle.
So, what do you guys think?
Thank goodness we changed to tiles.
I agree.
Like mother, like daughter.
Welcome back. Now at this point, I'll be going to, as I promised, to Voice of Nigeria. We have been meeting the Director General, Mr. Usita Ikechukwu. You are welcome back, sir. We'd like to hear from you why housing is important and what is your message to Nigerian political office holders as far as...
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm highly impressed. Where do I start? Do I start with Malam Shehu, who is from the Federal Mortgage Bank, our own dependable ally, Joshua Beba, Value Chain Banker, Dr. Mba. And what I promise is that if there's any way, there will be a summary of the outcome of this brilliant contribution. I promise to take it to Mr. President, because I was a member of the major committee of the APC, and housing comes top in our agenda, except because of paucity of funds, as have been illustrated by Traffic and others. We have known from the one that housing encourages employment. Because whenever any government on earth embarks on massive housing for the masses and the middle class, it will encourage employment. It will also re-engineer the economy itself. And it also is one of the greatest anti-corruption weapons. Because when going by affordable model you people are advancing, when somebody have a house or over his head, it's more likely, if he's paying on an affordable basis, on a gradual run, on incremental basis, especially these days when the pensioner is more reassured than ever before that his pension will be paid. And even those who are in the informal sector, there must be, from the data repository people are building, a way to get a market trader, the smallest of them all, that you can have your own house. The truck pusher, that you can have your own house. It cannot be the same, and it might not be located at the center of the city. It might be neighborhood approach. The neighborhood approach in terms of the fact that there will be a little markets, there will also be dispensary, there will also be school. But it must be aggregated for the objective it will achieve. One, employment. One, poverty alleviation. Secondly, and most importantly, that there's a reposition of the people's mind that the government works. It goes under the tenets of the what we call the John Maynard Keynes theory, that government must be involved to invest on the productive process. Because if government fails to invest on the productive process, and you leave it only to the private sector, it can work in some climes, but it's not where we find ourselves. Today, government will still need to be the heavier spender, because government has the capacity of, even for concessionary loans and grants, So when, after this program, if there's any way the summary could be documented and made simpler, I know that Mr. President is, throughout his life, he had always lived for public interest. Just as somebody said, as he's doing in agriculture, he can do in housing. It's very painful that under a nebulous economic policy, we kind of neglected the provision of houses. We even bothered, even those that were built for ministers, those that were built for legislators. And today, if you go through the budget process and know how much we are spending to accommodate those top and lower officials, both the middle, if we can find a way to do a good documentation, vis-a-vis how much that is being spent today for rentage, Mr. President, I know, will buy into, and a lot of governors will buy into that. That I promise I can do.
Thank you, Ukechukwu. Let me also inform you on this program that this your statement you have just made here today will be giving the highest publicity. I can assure you, to be on AIT, to be on TVC, the way you have just spoken here is we are going to put it like that. You have placed so much emphasis on why housing is important. You share my view. Housing is important for health, it's important for employment, it's important for productivity, it's important for economic development, and more, and more, and more. So your contribution to this program is highly appreciated. And permit me also to inform you, just last Monday, we packaged all that we have done in the last few weeks for the Office of the Vice President, the Committee on Sustainability, who monitor our webinar discussions, and requested that they wanted us to give us what we are saying. Let me assure you, sir, that we get the necessary materials from here to you by latest next week, Tuesday. If you are just joining us, we have been talking about digital off-takers affordability, profiling, some recent experiences, and we have been very lucky to have very giant Nigerian, prominent, very important personalities on the program. And now we are coming to the end of the program. Before I ask you to make your last statement on this program today, webinar discussion, permit me to ask Family Home Fund to please tell me, how ready are you for collaboration in making what we are discussing a success story?
Thank you, Festus, for that question. I think Family Homes Funds is very ready to work with and partner with various stakeholders. Inherent in the way we were set up is the fact that we have to work across the lines with existing stakeholders, be innovative in reaching out to new stakeholders to ensure that we're able to meet the gap. And so I'll put it this way. In terms of capital, we know that housing needs a huge amount of capital. The government has committed some amount of money already, but more is needed. And so we're working collaboratively, for example, with the NMRC to ensure that we can refinance some of the loans under our Help to Own project, so leveraging their own capacity. Our own houses, we have off-takers who are using the NHF, so working with the FMBN, recognizing their own strength in that area as well. As Family Homes Funds, even though we've just been really active since 2018, we're ensuring that we're putting in processes and having transparency around our processes to be a sort of go-to company for raising capital internationally from DFIs, from the capital market, etc. We're working with states and those who have other non-capital to provide. So for example, states are giving us land to be able to build. So we are very open to working with both private sector, public sector, NGOs, DFIs to ensure that we can meet the need for low-income Nigerians and Nigerians everywhere to be able to own and to have a roof over their heads.
Thank you, Dr. Banke. We have come to the last segment of today's program. And I want to ask all my very important guest speakers to just say their last word for this segment today. Be just 1 minute. Your last word, 1 minute. And so let me start with Dr. Ibagbe. Your last word on this program today. Dr. Joshua Ibagbe.
Yes. First of all, so far so good. Like the popular song says, so far so good. I was particularly excited by what my dear brother, Maogawoke Osita Ichuku just said. I know his passion. I've related with him for several years now. And I know his passion for housing, for not just the staff, but for Nigerians as a whole. God bless you, my dear brother. I'm also excited at the way everybody has spoken so far. You know, this thing actually is a network of brilliant ideas, brilliant people. Nigerians have brilliant people. Our challenge, first off, is implementation. The housing industry in Nigeria should be the most vibrant. How can we still have housing contributing less than 3-5% to our GDP when some countries, it contributes over 50%? How can we, as of today, be building less than 100 to 200,000 houses, even 500,000 houses every year? First off, I want to challenge us. We have been talking, but you know, like now you always joke with each other, action. It is time for action. I may be a medical doctor by background, but I know what housing can do for the health of the people. My PhD work was about, you know, how socioeconomic factors influence the health of the people. And when I came back to Nigeria from Russia, my biggest challenge is that housing is neglected. People live in slums. Even in big cities, people live in slums. It is time we get up and do something. We have enough statistics already with what Dr. Mba and our committee has done already, 19,000 offtakers, with what Value Chain has done already. I don't know name figures here, but we are working with an organization that has over 1 million, 2 million people. I've not named my partners today, but one of my partners has close to 5 million subscribers. Another partner has about 2 million subscribers. And we have a digital way to quickly profile them in under 2 to 3 months once they can log on. The system is robust. So my last word today is that we must quickly migrate to a digital origination of expression of interest of the off-takers, a digital origination of the mortgage evaluation and capacity, a digital platform on matching them, and that's what our company has currently created. And we are ready to launch it with the collaboration of the CBN. I'm happy Dr. Mike Ibai is on board, NMROC is on board, FMBN is on board. First off, we can't beat you in your coordination role. So on behalf of Value Chain Project Consultants and our team at the ngnom.ng, I wish all of us not just a fruitful deliberation, but implementation. God bless you once again for the opportunity to talk to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ibagbe. Thank you, Dr. Ibagbe. Now, let me move down to Family Home Fund. Your last statement on this program today.
Thank you, Festus. I think as we all know, housing is a huge challenge in this nation. But I'd like to encourage everybody to keep on plodding on, to keep on keeping the Nigerians, low-income Nigerians, every Nigerian at the heart of what we do, to stay motivated, to stay encouraged, and not to lose focus on this. We believe, and we've kept as our mantra, that will change lives, and that's what we are really looking to do. And we continue to hope to work with every single person to make sure that this is achieved at the end of the day. So good job to everybody on this meeting today. Festus, well done for continuing to put us on our toes. This is very important, and I think this sort of advocacy and enlightenment and awareness, and continue to put housing at the fore of what is being done in the nation is useful, and we'll continue to make sure that we are doing all we can to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Oyebanke. Now, I'll be going to NMRC to take my last statement for the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. So I would say that the collaborations between all of us through the Nigeria Real Estate Data Coalition Management Program is a very great one. I'm really excited that what NMRC started about 4 or 5 years ago is coming to fruition. We've been like the trailblazer. We started the real survey data. We started the housing market system. And I'm so happy about what's really going on now. And I'm glad that even the entire industry is coming to understand the concept of what we are doing. I'm going to encourage, CBN and Redan to keep taking the lead, because that's actually the starting point for us. I want us to take this to the states, and that's what we're doing with the model mortgage and foreclosure law that we are asking the states to sign off. Once they sign off, for example, Kaduna State, we're using this kind of methodology to ensure that the residents of Kaduna are able to purchase homes using, profiling them properly and linking them up to the mortgage banks eventually, and also the tripartite whereby we're reducing the interest rate to single digit is really critical. So this is going to form the foundation for all the states keying into the model mortgage and foreclosure law, using the uniform underwriting standards that we have defined for everybody in the country, and working to ensure that the Nigeria Real Estate Data Coalition Management Program becomes a process that we run every year that can be positioned under the housing finance ecosystem for sustainability and going forward. That I see as the end game for us in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Engineer. We appreciate your contribution. Now, I will be going to Dr. Mike Mba from the Central Bank of Nigeria to make his last statement on the program today. Dr. Mike?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you, Festus. Yeah, so I would say that this is what we need as far as off-takers profiling is concerned, is to take the collaboration we had started to the next level, like so many of us have admitted here in the panel. And so based on that, I will request my fellow panelists from Federal Mortgage Bank and the Family Home Fund to please take this message. We had already written, communicated that to their management, that we will like them to drive that process. Now, this is the benefit. When we are able to carry out a holistic profiling considerably, this is the question of the World Bank during one of their meetings with us, the team that came from Washington. They said, so what is your base? What's the denominator of your off-takers that you're looking at? And so with the MDS labor force data that we have, we are looking at capturing, in our labor force, we're talking about 90 million Nigerians, and then the employed component is about 70 million. So if we are to build an off-takers database that is robust enough to justify to the government and all its agencies to say, we need help in this sector. So we need to cover substantially. And so if we carry out that, already we're talking about the last time we talked about, Federal Mortgage has about 5 million in their database that we need to profile. And then we now go out there for those who are not contributing. Majority of Nigerian workers, whether self-employed or working somewhere, are not contributing, are not captured in the housing fund. So we need to now take that collaboration because it helps to strengthen these existing institutions like Federal Mortgage Bank and the Family Home Fund. For us to justify and say, oh, okay, we need to subsidize, we need to do this. We have to get that data and provide it to the government. The snapshot I shared has already can be used as a basis to say, oh, there is a problem somewhere. So, but that collaboration, which we want to continue with these agencies, what I'm asking for that under this platform, let's sustain it. Let's get more involved. All the private sector collaborators to be available to provide as much as you can what will be required to have that. And we are looking forward to that. When the funds are available, we can elaborate on what we are doing. We just captured a minimum of 500 from every state, and that is just like a drop of water in an ocean. So it's so large, the work that is ahead, that we need to co-opt as much hands as possible, both from the private sector and from the public sector. So that's my parting statement on this. Let us keep on collaborating and achieve greater things for our country, for this sector. Thank you.
Dr. Mike Umba of Central Bank of Nigeria. Then I'll be going to Federal Mortgage Bank. Malam Shehu Sidi, we need your last statement on the program today.
Thank you very much, Barrister Adebayo. I would like to thank my fellow panelists and all participants on this program, and to thank you especially for putting all this together. I don't know how Nigeria can pay you, but I believe that in the fullness of time, it shall be well with you. My concluding remarks will be to emphasize the issue of collaboration, which we have all talked about here. Nigeria's housing industry provides a very, very huge opportunity. Just to drive home this point, the 5 million contributor base that FMBN is presently carrying, at an average of 5 million per house, that will require about 25 trillion naira to fund. And 25 trillion naira is about 14.75% of Nigeria's GDP. That is also more than the country's budget for 2 years, for 2019 and 2020. That tells you the huge potential opportunity that is available in the housing sector. And as we are looking towards diversifying the Nigerian economy, I will encourage all stakeholders to keep emphasizing and working on this issue of collaboration so that we can get there as a country sooner than later. I'd like to thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Have a nice day.
Madam, I love your calculation. And I'm going to take it on with you. I'm going to put it everywhere. I can see Dr. Oba. Dr. Oba, I will not allow you to talk again. I know you want to. That's a great point. I love it. And then let me take the last person who I regard as a leader. And his action today has shown that is a committed housing advocate. That is Mr. Osita Ikeshuku. Last person to speak on the webinar discussion today.
Once more, thanks a million. Thanks a million. I renew my pledge. I will start tomorrow with the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing. When you are through with the documents, I head to Mr. President. Thanks a million.
Yeah. Of today's webinar discussion on the subject, Digital Offtakers Affordability Profiling, some recent experiences. Time to thank all my participants who have been connected for the last almost 2 hours for their commitment and their interest on the subject matter. I also want to thank all my very important personalities, guest speakers. You are so important, and I want to thank all of you, especially one by one, from Dr. Oyebanke down to Dr. Mike Mba, down to my friend, Dr. Joshua Igbagbe, then to my friend, my brother, engineer Taufik Olatiwo, and to my partner, Malam Shehu Osidi, and now my leader, Mr. Osita Ikeshuku. We have come to the end of today's webinar discussion. Thank you to everybody. We appreciate you especially. Until I see you in the next webinar discussion. Bye for now.
The quality and quantity of available housing stock in any country measures the development and quality of life of her people. On housing development, I make it my top priority to bring to you trending housing information and day-to-day housing plights of Nigerians.
If me as a civil servant working for my country cannot get access to housing loan, I don't know what else we can do.
Can you imagine that somebody will pay for 2 years rent and is not sure of the next 3 months money in his pocket.
Also analyze the housing policies and strategies of government with stakeholders.
Let the federal government next level be seen in the area of housing. Nigerians deserve to be housed.
Housing issue is a journey of 1,000 miles. I don't think that anybody can pretend that we're going to close the 17 million homes gap in 5 years.
Housing Development is your one-stop source for housing information. Join me